Oh, check your beta. Just got in. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Yo, boys, check your shit. Check your shit right now. Let's see if we can get in. Who just got in? Who just got in? All right, let's go ahead and, we'll watch the video, I guess. I mean, what the fuck else are we gonna do while we wait for the servers to come back up? So this is the tier 2.5, sorry, 0.5 gear. I never got any of this gear. This is like the heroism gear and, you know, other stuff like that. Okay, guys, so yeah, make sure that you download Classic WoW, so by the time the servers actually come up, you'll be ready to come out and play.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another episode in the
badass.
Azeroth Arsenal. This is a series where we take a look at some of the more interesting weapons and armor in the game's history.
Okay.
This one is a little different because the focus is on armor as opposed to the previous episodes, which were mainly weapons. In vanilla World of Warcraft, before raiding, you had the tier 0 dungeon set. This is the blue armor set for each class, and the pieces were scattered across many different dungeons in the game. It was the set to get pre-raids, and they were highly sought after.
I never completed
my Valor set. It was the Wild Heart, for Hunters, the Beast Stalker, Mage the Magister set, Paladins the Lightforge armor, the Priest set was called Devout, Rogues had Shadowcraft, the Shaman had the Elements, Warlock the Dreadmist, and Warriors the Valor set.
Yep.
At first, it was quite rare to see someone with the full set, and it was almost a status symbol. Before people started raiding, even blue items were impressive, so it was like, whoa, this guy knows his stuff.
Yo, imagine getting impressed over a blue nowadays.
And combining that with the looks and the set bonus made them quite special.
I'll look at it at some point, right?
These sets would of course be later replaced by the superior tier 1 set found in the Molten Core raid.
Of course.
And then that would be replaced by tier 2 and so on.
Oh, dude, there it is.
But lost within the shuffle was something called the tier 0.5 set, or the Dungeon Set 2 as it's called. This was sneaked in patch 1.10 in March of 2006.
Oh, that's when they added the weather effects.
At this point, the Temple of Ankh-Kiraj raid was already in the game, and that held tier 2.5, so raiders really had no interest in this revamped dungeon set. It was more aimed towards those who just stuck with 5-mans as their endgame, of which there were plenty because raiding back then was so time-consuming.
I don't think it was that hard, was it?
These sets were slightly better and modified versions of their originals.
Thank you.
The Wild Heart upgraded to Feral Heart, Beast Stalker to Beast Master, Magisters to Sorcerers, Lightforge to Soulforge, Devout to Virtuous, Shadowcraft to Dark Mantle, Elements to the Five Thunders, Dreadmist to Deathmist, and Valor to Heroism. In looks, they were just different color palettes for the most part,
they were better.
But in stats and rarity, they were superior to their blue counterparts. The quest chain that awarded them was the same for each class, but it was very long and expensive, and as a result, not a lot of people completed it, and in fact, if you mention these tier 0.5 sets to people today, most of them will have no clue what you're talking about.
I remember, like, whenever I saw how long it would take for me to get my tier 0.5 set, I was like, fuck it. I guess I'll just farm Grand Marshal instead. Like, I didn't want to waste my time. I thought it was a fucking waste of I thought it was just a complete waste of time. Like, why do I want to spend all day doing this piece of shit and getting this bad gear that's not even better than stuff in MC for me to do this? And I just got the MC, I just worked on the Grand Marshal gear instead. Thank you for finding about the new beta opt-in. Refresh my app. I was logged in. I saw the classic beta service offline. You're a beast. Keep on streaming, man. See you in game. The rule after, thank you very much to $20. I appreciate that, man. Let's go ahead and, it's a bug. You didn't actually get in. I really hope that's not the case. Just get rank 13. I got up to Knight Lieutenant, and then the 2.0 patch came out. Then I got the rest of my GM gear. Unfortunately, I didn't really grind enough. I just started too late into the game, and I didn't get enough time to do it.
So, I thought I'd cover the chain in its entirety and tell you about something that I think is a mystery to a lot of people. Mainly for entertainment, but who knows. If you decide to play the classic servers, maybe you can even use it as a guide.
Arsenal with the 5 get the community subs. Thank you very much,
The main goal of it is to collect 3 fragments of an amulet and to break an ancient curse. This video will be from an alliance perspective, but the chain is pretty much mirrored for the Horde. I'll list any minor differences in text, but other than that, the main differences are the turn and NPCs.
Okay.
So, for the Alliance, it all started from the NPC Deliana, located just outside the throne room in Ironforge.
It was expensive,
and Makvar, the treasurer for the Horde, who you could find in Thrall's throne room in Orgrimmar.
Fuck that, 100%.
They tell you that they have in their possession a powerful set of armor worn by your class, and they're willing to give it to you for a favor. So, because this chain upgrades your tier 0 to 0.5, you of course had to already own all of your tier 0 set, which consisted of 8 pieces.
What a waste
of fucking time. The
bracers,
the belt, boots, gloves, pants, shoulders, chest, and head.
Easy.
Going with the Alliance chain, the first step is to upgrade the bracers. Deliana sends you to the Winter Spring Zone, located all the way on the other continent. Remember, this is vanilla, and the
That's a real quest right there. You start in the town, you go to the other fucking continent. That's like a quest for Christopher Columbus. You think about that. It's the same damn thing. Actually, that's a really good way to look at it. So you feel like Christopher Columbus doing quests in vanilla WoW. Because you're going over to different continents, you have no fucking idea what's going on, and then you kill the people that are living there. And now the quests are just participation rewards. It's like track and field in 3rd grade. The only good thing about it is you don't actually have to do any work that day.
Traveling for these quests was legendary, and it was all on the ground, so there was a lot of walking.
Goddamn right there was.
You needed to get 15 blood samples from the wildlife here, and if you brought the blood back and give her 20 gold and your bracers, you get the upgraded bracers for the dungeon set too. Just 7 more to go.
I never did this
At this point, with this 20 gold investment, I do want to emphasize just how expensive it was to finish this whole chain. And it's the main reason why a lot of people skipped it.
What a waste of fucking
This 20
money.
Gold is just the beginning.
Oh my god.
And if you take into account that you're losing your original enchants, this chain is pretty pricey to finish. But with this, part 1 is done, and we have the bracers.
Fucking right.
For the next part, you need to talk to a dead person's ghost, and to do that, you need to visit a master engineer that specializes in the supernatural. You're sent to Muck's manuscript.
300 IQ idea for Blizzard. Next patch. Bring this quest line back. And just upgrade all the gear to level 120. Just upgrade all the gear. Like, I don't know why they don't do shit like this. Bring the entire quest line back. Upgrade all the gear. Make classic time walking weak. And have people be able to go back and get this gear. I would fucking love to see that. And I really wish that, like, Blizzard, like, those kinds of ideas, if they did a classic time walking, I would fucking love that. I don't know how they could make it good enough to meet people's expectations, though. That's the issue. Maybe they could do it, like, once a year. That's the only way I could think it working. I think it would work, and have Nax 40 out for the week. I still think that's a good idea, man. I don't care if everybody disagrees with me. I think it'd be fucking badass. Like, imagine that week, dude. Everybody would be on. Everybody would be playing. Holy shit. Everybody would be ready. People would be leveling up alts all year round just to do that one fucking week. And it would feel great.
Scrambler and Gadgetsan, and being a goblin, he of course wants money out of you.
And they'd allow Masterwood in there,
To progress to the next part,
you need
to give him 40 gold, which at this point was a lot back then.
Yep.
Most people had maybe 100-ish in their pockets. Everyone was broke. But that wasn't all. You also needed a bunch of trade materials, which also cost gold. And this is where most people said, you know, screw this. This is out of my price range, so I'll just stick with the old tier set. So, the total shopping list here was a delicate Arcanite converter, which was made by engineers, 4 greater eternal essences, which enchanters got from disenchanting high-level greens, 10 stone scale oil, which were made by alchemists, and 25 volcanic ash, which you had to get by yourself. You got this in the burning step zone on the ground, typically near lava pools, so it didn't cost anything.
Didn't you need blood
but it was a lot of travel, and 25 made it pretty time-consuming.
I forgot.
And in terms of travel, we're just getting started. Mux builds you a ghost trap, and for the next part, you need to use... And in terms of travel...
Quick trivia. Who's that a statue of, guys? Who's that a statue of? Lothar. Good. Good.
Just getting started. Mux builds you a ghost trap, and for the next part, you need to use this trap and collect ectoplasm from all across the world. To use this trap, you needed something called Goblin Rocket Fuel, and you're given 8 to start off, but if you used all of them before you collected all 36 essences, you had to buy more from an engineer.
Yep. Yeah, this is
you
Ghostbusters,
need 12 scorched ectoplasms from enemies in Silithus, 12 frozens from enemies in Winterspring, and 12 stables from enemies in the Eastern Plaguelands.
Okay.
Did I say that the traveling in vanilla was ridiculous yet? Anyways, you bring all of...
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't really, like, because you just go AFK. Like, you're AFK for like half the game. It's kind of like... You know what I mean? Like, all right, here's a good way for me to look at it. You know whenever you're like 12, 13, and you just discover how great titties are, and anytime your mom literally goes down to the corner store, you're on the computer in like fucking record time, looking up porn, like jacking off like so fucking fast, right? She goes to the grocery store. This is the best day of your life, all right? And you get to sit there on the computer for like a whole hour, right? But by the time that you're like, you know, maybe like 24, 25, and you've already got your own place, you've got your own room, and you can just look at porn all day long if you want, it loses a little bit of its excitement to a certain extent because you're just doing it all the time. And it's kind of like Vanilla WoW. Vanilla WoW is blue-balling you because there are so many periods where like you're just fucking not doing anything. So you're just waiting for that one moment where you actually get to play your character. And in BFA, you're just always playing your character. So it's just like, okay, all right, let's go. Let's keep going. And I really think, like, I mean, like, this is a 200 IQ. Again, this is what I was talking about before, how Blizzard, it's like some kind of, like, just a fucking, a mastermind mistake that they've made with Vanilla WoW. I think that the genius of Vanilla WoW is that half of it wasn't even intentional. And even the devs said that. Kevin Jordan said, it's like, was this planned? Like, no, it just happened. I don't know. Like, I think that's just, it's the genius of unintended consequences. It's really fucking cool. Truly extraordinary, just like Smash Melee. Exactly, just like Smash Melee.
The Skoo and the trap back to Mux and Tannerus, and he sends you back to the Burning Steppes to get the Magma Core from an Earth Elemental located inside the zone. Okay. Hey, why didn't you tell me to do this while I was getting the ash earlier? What an ashhole. So, you return the core, and you just need one more part.
Holy shit!
It's a Fel Elemental Rod, but the only problem is that you have to buy it from an imp merchant named Veal, and he's located in an elite-infested area in the southern Winterspring zone, all the way north.
Ashhole is a funny guy.
Luckily, though, he isn't super deep into the area, and he's in the first cave you see on the right-hand side. The rod also costs 40 gold, so it's pretty pricey.
Yep, 40 fucking gold.
So you buy the rod,
imagine wasting all your money for that.
And he finishes the device and tells you to return it to Deliana in Ironforge if you're Alliance, or Makvar in Orgrimmar if you're Horde.
Of course.
As a reward for getting this far, for the next quest, you're asked to turn in your belt and gloves for the upgrade. And as a bonus, the gloves are actually an upgrade in rarity, your first purple piece of the set. But you're not satisfied with just 3 pieces. So you ask for the next task, and you're sent to the entrance of the Strathholm dungeon along with the ghost device. You're told to use this device near the entrance, and doing so will reveal the ghost of Antheon Harmon. From him, you need to obtain some information about a special amulet. He agrees to help you, but in return, you must do him a favor. You need to go inside the Strathholm dungeon and rescue someone called Ysida Harmon from the final boss of the undead side, Baron Rivendare.
I don't remember this at all.
So, this is our first official group quest in the chain.
There's
just one catch though. When you enter the dungeon, a 45-minute timer starts.
Wait, this is what the 45-minute timer was for?
At the end of it. not only do you need to clear through the dungeon,
her after the 40...
but you also had to do it pretty quickly and carefully so you don't wipe. But if you're successful, Ysida gave you her locket, which you returned to Antheon.
Okay.
You ask him information about a Draconid named Valthalak and a special medallion that he held.
Okay.
And he tells you that the medallion had Valthalak's soul stored inside, and that he took it and divided it amongst his friends.
God damn,
But upon doing so, they unleashed a curse upon themselves that's still active, even in death.
That's actually so fucking
cool. He says that
cool.
he gave the first piece to a dwarf named Theldrin, who's a gladiator for the Dark Iron Dwarves.
Okay.
So, you need to fight him and get the medallion back.
This is what
but to do so, you need a bunch of materials.
Fuck yeah.
You need 3 dark iron bars, which were made by miners, 20 enchanted leathers from enchanters, 3 mooncloth from tailors, and 4 cured rugged hides from leatherworkers. All pretty pricey trade goods, so the investment was really starting to pile up at this point.
Yep.
And what did you need all of this stuff for? A banner, of course.
It's incomplete.
Hey, you can't just fight the guy. You need this special banner.
You gotta get him mad
first. It's not even finished yet. You need to take this incomplete banner to an NPC named Valorant Treeshaper, located in the library of the Dire Maul dungeon, so, again, a group is needed to clear to this NPC.
Oh, Dire Maul.
And to follow along with the scheme of things, before he'll help you, you need to do him a favor.
Oh, come on.
He asks you to kill ogres inside of Dire Maul and to bring him their war beads as proof, 25 of them total.
Wow.
And for this, you at least get an amulet as a reward, which is a nice little bonus. Upon completing this, Valorant will enchant the banner that'll somehow provoke Theldrin, but to...
My mom actually completed a lot of this quest back in Vanilla WoW, I'm pretty sure. Because she was never going to raid, and she never really did PvP. So she just completed this quest, just like all she did.
Do that, he needs more materials first. You need 4 dark runes, which are drops from enemies in the Scholomance dungeon. So for these, you either got a group, or you bought them off of the auction house since they weren't soulbound. You also needed 8 large brilliant shards, which enchanters got from disenchanting high-level blue items, and a quest item called the Jeering Spectre Essence, which dropped from ghosts located inside the Dire Maul dungeon.
Of course.
So, lots of help required.
Of course.
This is a pretty elaborate way of challenging someone to a fight, don't you think? Anyways, you take this special banner to the arena located inside the Blackrock Depths instance to summon the secret Theldrin boss and his posse. And your goal, of course, is to take him down. He dropped some loot, some of which is unique in transmog, so to this day, people are looking for others with the banner still to get some rare transmogs.
I got that bow myself.
And he also dropped the first fragment of the amulet.
Service incompatible. We're waiting.
You returned this to Antheon, and he tells you that the only way to stop the curse is to put the amulet back together, so you need 2 more fragments.
Okay.
This is about the halfway point of the chain. Hey, I told you this was a long one. Not to tease you here, but I think for the sake of not making this video too long, we'll come back to this in part 2, so I'll see you then. To be continued.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video.
This shit would just take so goddamn long, man. Like, I really, I don't know, restart the client? Okay, let me restart client, and we'll see what happens, okay? See if the servers are gonna come up. Yeah, obviously, like, those chains were really, really long. Very, very time investment. Yeah, it still says incompatible, unfortunately. I'll try to log in. Let's see. It just says log in. So I'll go back to incompatible, and then we'll look at something else, okay? Watch yourself with the reaction at Tides of Vengeance 2 trailer. Reminds me of Dragon Slayer from RuneScape. Yeah, I know in RuneScape there's a ton of, like, really big quests, too. And so I think this is, like, one thing that WoW used to have a lot of, and nowadays they don't really have that much of, which is unfortunate. Random quest chain in vanilla has better lore than BFA. Well, I mean, this is a main quest chain I guess like in vanilla WoW. It was a big quest chain. But the point is, yeah, I do think they did a better job with the lore. And I think one of the reasons they did it is they wrote it with, like, more of, like, a, I don't know. It just seemed like it was more raw. And I think, like, if I had to describe, like, everything about it and, like, why I thought it was better, it would be kind of complex. But one of the reasons that I like it more is the fact that the player is not necessarily an actor in the story itself, they're more of like a secondary character that just moves the plot forward, which is actually what I prefer. And I don't like how the game narrative takes the player into consideration nowadays. I'm just not a fan of it. That's like an RP thing, okay? Like, so, okay, this is like, you know, all right, get on your robe and wizard hat and let's all listen to Asmongold talk about, you know, his character's narrative. But I just feel like it's important. And whenever there's a certain level of escapism, there's a spectrum of escapism that people have in video games. And I think that whenever you put the character in the storyline, unless that escapism matches with the storyline that you have in your head, then it's just completely, they run counter to each other. And I don't like that at all. Okay, homeless wizard, it's not like you're part of the world. Well, I don't think that the player should be considered as part of the world, except for just like a nameless adventurer or something like that, right? It's just like actors inside the game. Is the alpha server? Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way I feel, right? Where are you on the spectrum? So I am on the spectrum for this, and I would say that, like, there are people that do like hard RP and then soft RP. I think that in a lot of ways I kind of do soft RP in some ways where I kind of act a little bit different whenever I'm playing the game than I would in real life, right? But I'm not taking on the role as like, oh, I'm Asmongold that comes from Hillsbrad Foothills or something like that, or Winterspring. It's just like it's a middle ground. That's the point that I'm trying to make. More videos, yeah. All right, we'll look at this one here. This is a question that a lot of people have asked. Tips made this video. What's next? Classic TBC or patch 1.13? Everybody wonders. Everybody asks. Nobody agrees. Part 2? Actually, yeah. All right, let's just go part 2. Good point. Let's do part 2. The quest continues. All right, it could. Oh, that shield. I used to have that shield. I never got the Arcanite Reaper, though. Because I could just get the Unstoppable Force, and I thought it was better.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another episode in the Azeroth Arsenal. In the last episode of the series, I started covering the Tier 0.5 armor set, or the Dungeon Set 2, as some people call it. So, this video will be the conclusion of this chain. If you remember, we left off doing a bit of ghost hunting, we did a timed Strat home run, made a special banner, summoned a special boss in the Blackrock Depths instance, and got the first of 3 fragments of a medallion to break an ancient curse.
No,
we brought this medallion back to Antheon.
I'll finish this video and I'll restart.
He tells you to return to Deliana or Makvar, and that someone named Bodley is the only hope of finding the 2 remaining pieces. Returning to them allowed you to trade in 3 more pieces, the boots, which were purple, and the pants and shoulders. Just 2 more pieces to go, the head and chest. You're told to track down Bodley, who was last seen entering the Blackrock Spire in the Blackrock Mountain. So, you bring the Ghost Revealer with you, and use it to speak with his ghost, and he gives you the last 2 parts, the head, chest, and that's quest complete.
Farewell really for now, cool. Mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video.
Nah, just kidding. You need to travel to the other side of the world
Surprise,
to get an item called the Cinder of Cinders.
Yep, there you go.
This dropped from an NPC named the Duke of Cinders in the Silithus Zone.
Oh yeah,
but he's not just like any other NPC. You have to do a little ritual to summon him.
Yep.
You need to kill Twilight cultists within the zone until you obtain 3 pieces of their armor as a disguise. A cowl, a mantle, and the robe.
Yep.
Having all 3 gave you access to something called a Windstone, which allowed you to summon the Lord of Cinders. To do that though, you first needed a medallion called the Twilight Cultist Medallion of Station.
Like back in the day, like you didn't just fuck around to do this on
you needed to complete a quest chain. And to start this chain, you needed to do some farming to reach the friendly reputation with the Cenarian Circle.
Yep.
Aw man, this is reminding me of the Burning Crusade attunement. Not getting into rep farming, once you do that, you talk to an NPC named Arl Goldleaf in the Cenarian Hold in Silithus, and you needed to bring her 1 large brilliant shard and 3 items called Abyssal Crests. You got these abyssal crests by equipping that twilight set you got earlier and clicking on lesser windstones located throughout the zone to summon an elemental which dropped the crests.
This shit was actually
Turning
really hard
in the
to
materials
do.
gave you the medallion, which gave you a 1 in 4 chance upon clicking the windstones of
Just
summoning the Duke of Cinders.
These are like 10-man
If you're lucky enough to summon them, you kill them, get the Cinder Cinder, and bring it back to...
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think one of them was like one version of them was really hard.
Oh yeah, Bodley needed this. You know, you lose track after a while.
Yeah, you sure fucking do.
But he also needed 2 more items called the Incendicite of Incendius, which dropped from Lord Incendius, a boss in the Blackrock Depths. And he also needed the Ember of the Emberseer, which dropped from the Pyroguard Emberseer in the Upper Blackrock Spire.
You guys remember this? The boss, it would take like 8 minutes for the boss to finally spawn and slowly grow a little bit bigger, and then you'd kill him in 3 seconds and it wouldn't even matter. God, that was so fucking annoying.
Which was only opened with the Seal of Ascension, which you got from...
Another quest line.
I'm not going into that one again.
Yep.
And lastly, you also need an item called the Hallowed Brazier, which you could only buy from the Argent Dawn faction for 120 gold.
I never knew what that did.
Honored reputation level or higher.
I had no fucking idea.
So, you bring all this stuff back to Bodley, and you'll give you 1 of 4 quests selected at random.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you guys the video link.
It'll be called the Components of Importance, and the possibilities are to retrieve a brilliant Sword of Zealotry, which is looted from the elite Scarlet Praetorians located in the elite Tyr's Hand zone in the Eastern Plaguelands. Another possibility was to retrieve the soul ashes of the Banished, which you got from the undead located on the Purgation Isle, which could be found off the coast of the Hillsbrad Foothills zone.
Yeah, those were also 60 elites.
Option number 3 was to acquire the druidical remains from the Silithid, located at Hive Regal in the southeast Silithus.
And those were elite too.
And
like, all
number
these
4
mobs
was
were
to
elite.
track down the Starbreeze Village relic, which you can find back at the Frost Whisper Gorge in southern Winterspring from the Frostmaw Giants there.
Also elite.
All 4 of these quests involved killing elite enemies, which were soloable with the right class and gear, but still, they were tough.
This shit was hard to do.
But whichever one you got, you brought back to Bodley, and he gave you the follow-up quest. If you got the Blade of Zealotry, your next goal is to take the brazier you put together earlier in the final boss room of the human side of Stratholme to summon 2 undead enemies named Jarian and Sathos.
I don't remember this at all.
You kill them and loot the left piece of the amulet. Or, in the previous part, if you got the soul ashes, you then head to the Scholomance dungeon into Ras Frost Whisper's room, which was near the end of the instance, and you use this brazier to summon an ogre named Cormac.
Dude, this is
if
so
you instead got
crazy.
the Druidical Remains quest, the follow-up for that was to head to the War Master Voon's room in the lower Blackrock Spire to summon a Tauren druid named Mor Greyhoof.
Like, I
and
don't know.
lastly, if you got the relic, you needed to go to the Satyr, Alzin the Wild Shaper's room, all the way in the Diremaul East dungeon.
Yep.
You kill him, and using the brazier, you summon the Night Elf, Isalian.
Yep, we had to kill her for the
transmog.
transmog.
So, of course, all 4 of these required a full group to summon and kill. And, just like Theldrin in the Blackrock Depths, they all dropped loot, and some are still sought after as transmogs to this day.
Yep.
Players who completed this whole chain and kept a certain item can still summon a few of them, but since the chain was so long, hard, and expensive, these people are extremely rare to find.
Yeah, there's probably only like a dozen
Anyways,
left.
Whichever scenario you got, you turned into Bodley, and that's 2 of the 3 fragments. And for the next part, he asks you to gather some reagents to cast a spell to track down the 3rd fragment.
Just like
this happens to be 20 blood kelp from Naga, located on the Alkaz Island in the Dustswallow Marsh zone.
Oh, how convenient!
These Naga were all high-level elites, so they were difficult, but soloable, again with the right class and gear. And the next 2 parts are basically just repeats of the previous parts. You know the portion of the chain where there were 4 possibilities? Out of the remaining 3 scenarios, you'll get 1 randomly for the next 2 parts. So, the Sword from Tyr's Hand, the Ashes from Purgation Isle, the Druidical Remains from Silithus, or the Relic from Winterspring. And after that, you get one of those 4 quests to go into one of the dungeons to summon another boss. Doing so gave you the final piece of the amulet. The last part required you to go into the raid, the Upper Blackrock Spire, and kill the elite orcs there until you got 40 Blackrock bracers, and just in case you thought that you were home free in terms of gold, you also needed a flask of supreme power, which was a spell power flask for vanilla.
Oh my god.
It was of course made by alchemists.
I feel like you could just take all this gold and sell it for real money and buy enough shares of Blizzard to just get them to release Burning Crusade faster. This is insane. Think about how much fucking money you have to put into this quest, and it's just some random ass blue and epic gear. Like, I can't even believe it. This is so insane. Yeah, obviously people, like, we have, like, a thing that automatically times out people that put, like, try hard whenever I say something that there's obviously a racist connotation to. My mods are gods, okay, guys? We have those people under control. Yeah, there are no spurgs allowed in my stream. We're keeping them under wraps and under control.
And it was pretty expensive. You brought all of this back to Bodley. The next part was the finale. You needed to go back into the upper Blackrock Spire and summon Lord Valthalak himself.
Yeah, I don't remember ever doing this part.
This guy was an elite Draconid, and you summoned him in the Beast's room, so once again, near the end of the raid. It was actually a pretty tough fight, involving 3 phases total where he drains life, summons adds, enrages, and throws out Shadow Bolt volleys. A worthy final boss to this insane quest chain.
That's actually pretty fucking cool.
If you were successful though, you use the completed amulet on his corpse to summon his spirit, and he agrees to end the curse now that the amulet is returned. The next step is to return to Bodley, and he tells you to return to Deliana for the Alliance or Mokvar for the Horde, and they thank you by letting you trade in your Tier 0 chest and helmet for their Tier 0.5 counterparts.
I wish that I could go back and do this quest right now.
He or she wishes you luck and hopes that this armor will protect you for a long time.
That's a great one.
Or until the next expansion, I guess.
Appreciate it, man.
And that's it. That's the chain completed. You're a little older, a little more broke, but you have your new set. A lot older,
actually.
Maybe it didn't have better stats than the raiding sets, but it was definitely more rare, and in its own way, more difficult to get. The true set for the non-raiding player. Today, of course, thanks to the Cataclysm, the chain and thus the armor sets are now removed from the game, but you still can obtain both the Tier 0 and 0.5 as transmogs from the Darkmoon Fair if you'd like. They just exist for looks though, and they don't have any stats. Another bonus is that if you completed this chain, you got to keep the tools to summon any of the bosses anytime you want, in case you wanted some of their unique loot.
Oh!
Cormac from Skolomance,
so that's why people were able to
Depths,
resummon it over and over.
Jarian and Sothos from Stratholme, Asalian from Dire Maul, more Greyhoof from the lower Blackrock Spire, and Valthalak from the upper Blackrock Spire.
We should go through and kill all those mobs.
Due to the many dungeon re-releases, there's not a lot that you can actually summon still. Only Asalian, more Greyhoof, and Theldrin survived the revamps, and the rest are lost forever.
We've never killed the Druid before, but we killed the other two.
Or I guess until Classic servers release. But that's about it.
True.
If you watched this for entertainment, I hope you found it entertaining, and if you watched it as a guide, I hope you found it helpful. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Azeroth Arsenal.
You know what's so badass? Is that people actually are going to be able to use that as a
farewell for now, mortals.
They will.
We hope you enjoyed today's
video. It will be soon, too.
See you again soon.
Do you remember the Nagaholic exploration video, Vanilla by Dopefish, brings you back all classic feelings? Yeah, I do remember watching that, man. Thank you very much, Magic Dave. I appreciate that. Too long, but probably worth skimming. Yeah, it's kind of a long video. I'm going to watch the FTS video after this, and then maybe something else after that if the servers still aren't up. I might be out of here, but Classic's not even out, and everyone's asking what's next. Why is that? Well, people always want to know, like, what's happening, right? They want to know, like, what they're looking forward to and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just, like, very common for people to expect to see that, right? Do a world first of this quest. I will, actually. Watch the tips out video, please. Well, we'll see which one we're going to watch, all right? Do you guys want to watch the, there's two questions, two. The tips out video about classic TBC or patch 1.13, like content beyond vanilla, or the Etiesh video. Which ones do you guys want to see? Hopefully, the servers aren't down long enough for us to have to watch both. Tips or Etiesh? I think everybody's going to just put, okay, most people are saying Etiesh. All right, yeah, let's go with that one. I actually expected people to say tips because most people wouldn't know how to spell Atiesh. So I'm impressed, guys. Good job. All right, we'll take a look at this one first. It's only a 10-minute video, so if this one's over and the servers still aren't up, we'll go and we'll watch the tips one after this, okay? Yeah, I'm double checking here. Yeah, server's still offline. Okay, 1 second. Let me make sure that I catch up with all the rest of these. 1 year anniversary of the passing of Total Biscuit. Pour one out for the YouTube and Twitch legend. Hey, he was, man. He definitely was. That's sorry to hear. Chuckler, thank you very much for the 500 bits. Alliance is trash for the Horde. Rogue Slasher. Thanks a lot for the $2, man. Appreciate that. If I manage to get 60 within 7 to 8 real days after launch, would you consider giving me a chance to prove myself and eventually join raiding guild? Yeah, I would. Asman, I'm sorry I made fun of you and your mods. I never spammed. You can log me. Please unban. Okay, we're gonna look at one person and then we're gonna get done. All right. Do you think your break from streaming made your current streams better? Yeah, I think so. I'm a lot more relaxed in general now, and I'm glad to be that way. Absolutely. Keep going. Make WoW perma #1 on Twitch. I'm going to do my best, man. I definitely will. Saw the political debate from Train, Destiny, and Sargon. Comments loved you. You're on a great neutral moderator. Hope you do it again. I will. Like, if Train wants to do another political podcast, I will absolutely be willing to do that with him, and I enjoyed it last time, and I will probably enjoy it this time as well. Let me just go ahead and open up this guy's logs, and we will see what we've got here. All right, there we go. Asmongold. All right, let's look at your logs, and we'll start the video. PvP server, twit longer, mods banned emote. Let's see, 70 candy. Why don't you tone down the just tone down the talking about the view count stuff, man? Like, that's like, people that do that a lot, like, I don't know, it's usually a lot of, like, usually a combination of, like, a lot of people that act that way are, like, really spurgy, right? Because they're like, oh, I was here, I'm part of something. Like, just relax, man. Just enjoy the show. Just enjoy the show and have a good time. You're unbanned.